This is Pam Electric Ghost, and this is our continuing series of song deconstructions. The song we're going to talk about is a Dark Ghost track, which is our current album that we're going to release this year, called Sonic Twin. Sonic Twin takes the idea of that there's a person in your life that you are so in sync with musically that they become your sonic twin. And the idea is you're really in tune. You got the same key. You got similar ideas. So if you're a musician, I think you'll understand if you're playing with somebody or you're writing music with somebody and you kind of lock in on a groove, you lock in on an idea, and it just feels like so satisfying that you're so in tune that they're your sonic twin. And then the song kind of mixes the idea that you might want to be more than just a musical partner. You might want to feel you're feeling emotional, you're feeling connection with that person, so you start to feel romantic love toward that person, and you want to be able to feel those feelings and be able to include them. And then you start to feel that there is some disconnect. There's some now there's a discordance or discordant nature of music where the connection starts to fall apart, or maybe it was never there and you thought it was too much, or thought more of it than it should be. So the idea is that that's what this song is about. It started with a Moog DFAM drummer from another mother beat, and then used a keytar from a Roland Juno GI to play the kind of acoustic guitar, and it's manually played through the whole song, and using the DFAM beat to be a pretty steady structure. And then also we throw in some other sounds from a Mother 32 and from Arturia Micro Brute, Mini Brute 2S. And I also like to use a System 1M without any plugins, just using its normal state. So, like I said, I use a hardware workflow, and this was using a Zoom R24, which has a really good 24-bit recording process. And as I've said before, one of the benefits of using a digital recorder is that you get the full sound of an analog synth without any kind of clipping or compression from a DAW, and you're able to get that full sound. And then you could record in such a way that it feels live, because I am manually playing all the parts and tracking them, and not doing any kind of auto correction, and any of the micro mistakes or errors are part of the character of the song, and it gives it a feel that's somewhat like a jam band or jazz kind of fusion feel. And it's just a choice I've made in the structure of my songs to use that ability. Now in the future, I'm looking at some of the really cool gear that showed up at Super Booth and NAMM this year, the MPC X, which I like a lot because it gives you a standalone DAW that you can have right by your gear. You can link it to analog instruments, and then you could do that kind of recording where you could do the corrections and you could do the manipulation, but you could also just play it straight, and then have an ability, if you're working with another person, because I've worked with producers like All Control K and Lonnie Claire, DJ Squash Kid, it would give me the ability to actually modify the song in a way that somebody on the DAW can, but still giving me the benefit of recording in the way that I record. You can see from things like the Zoom Live track that there's a need in the industry today for being able to capture live modular equipment, because Euroracks and analog synths tend to give you something that you might not compose is in tighter structure than what you do with a plugin, because the analog synth nature is that it's so variable and so many different things can happen that live recording is a good way to do it. If you have something like a live track, it could capture all that goodness on separate tracks, and then later you can manipulate them using something like an Akai. You could take those signals and modify them after you've done it. So you can create some really cool stuff, and you can either keep it the way it is or make adjustments and move things around. In the current structure I do now, a lot of what I do is punch in, punch out, cut and pasting, which is old techniques. We're using that Morphogene for Make Noise, and that allows you to do some really cool sampling. And I think one of the coolest things I've seen with the Morphogene is being able to merge within the same song lyrics from any position in the song into the same space. So you could take a vocal at minute 120 and a vocal at 320 and merge them to happen at the same time. You can do the same thing with merging, multiple splices that you can bring in and out. And with the current update, there's a lot of cool modulation opportunities that now you can bring in signals from not just the left mono signal, but also the right signal, which is really cool. And we're working on some stuff with that. But Sonic Twin is going to be on Dark Ghost Spider Puppets, and that's our collaboration with TurnerBattle.com. He's doing the art for that. He did the art for To Infinitum, which is our collaboration with Alt Control K from Los Angeles. And that album is still available, and the cover was done by TurnerBattle.com. You should check out their art. They have really cool graphic art you can get on t-shirts and posters and masks. And I have a mask that he created for me for the Phantom. And then again, for those who don't know, Phantom Electric Ghost is my vehicle for creating electronic music. I play characters using vocoders like the VTO3 and JDXI native vocoder to create my lead singer for Phantom Electric Ghost is Josephine Electric. And is my alter ego. She's my alter ego, and I use her to create most of the songs. I have her singing lead. Sometimes you get a Phantom Electric Ghost song. We are on the net. You can see our acronym is PEG or PEG. Our brand of music we call Expansive Sound Experiments, and we're on Instagram under that moniker. You can find us on Facebook at Josephine Electric and Phantom Electric Ghost. You can find us there. We're on Fanburst as Phantom Electric Ghost. We're on SoundCloud. We've got over 72,000 listens. And we're on Apple Music and Spotify. We have a playlist on Spotify, Analog Girl and Rooftop Dude, a love story that has some of our best songs. We're also on Apple Music on a playlist called Sex. And, the Dark Ghost album is an accumulation of a lot of Bandcamp tracks that we did, plus new tracks that we've created this year. I would say it's a best of a lot of the stuff we've done in the last 2 years. It is the fourth proper Phantom Electric Ghost record. Our first 3 records are on Amazon. There's Something Wicked, Indigo Menace, and Synesthesia Neo Soul Surrender. And Synesthesia Neo Soul, Sweet Neo Soul Surrender was probably our best album before To Infinitum. It had a lot of good tracks on it that are more, I think, is the evolution of the sound, where we have, a lot of tracks that were more traditional song structures than the first 2 records. This Dark Ghost record actually continues what we did on Synesthesia, and we got a little tighter. We got a lot more gear, like our Euro rack from Arturia 6U with a Moog DFAM and a Moog Mother 32, a Make Noise Math and a Make Noise Morphogene. And, our Studio Electronics microphone that we got, which is really beefing up our sound, along with the VTO3 vocoder. It's really adding to the depth of Josephine Electric's voice. And we've been experimenting with her voice for 2 years, and we think we've got a better version of it for this record. This record explores kind of darkness of the soul at a micro and macro level, and social disconnection, anomie, and general discordant and harmonic connections. So I like to use musical terms to describe social relationships, and so discordance is kind of like my musical term for like anomie, or social disconnection, isolation, and basically the feeling of being a kind of outsider in society, and looking from that outside in and trying to find a way to connect. So a lot of what we do with Phantom Electric Ghost is we do a lot of stuff independently of the music scene in a normal way. We write our own stuff. We stay into indie as much as we can. We do like to collaborate. We were doing a show on Spearman, but they've kind of transitioned into a new model where they're doing more video-focused work. We are now switched to this platform on Anchor, and we're hoping to interview some of the guests we previously interviewed on Spearman. We're just trying to set that up. So going forward, we're going to be interviewing some of the folks we interviewed previously, like Rain, Hydra, The Muted, Kendra Black, and some others. And we're hoping to get the band from the Bahamas, Heritage, on the platform when they have their new material. So this is a very exciting time to be in music. There's a lot of cool stuff going on, a lot of cool gear that we're going to be introducing into our workflow going into 2019. We are now pretty much dead set on getting a Prophet X because it will give us a lot of cool sampled and general Prophet goodness. We've been looking at Prophet since for a long time, kind of vacillating between the 6, the 8, the 12, and now the X kind of gives us something we've been looking for. We like the idea of a Korg Kronos or an FA08 workstation, but we like the modulation capabilities of a Prophet Rev 2 or Prophet 8. We like the workflow design on a Prophet. We like the build quality of the Prophet. And now that we've got the sample soundboard, deep sampling from ADO, and just the ability of a classic synth design. Dave Smith is one of the pioneers. He's the basically another Moog, another RA Moog, and he's still here with us. He created MIDI, he created the Prophet 6, he created the 12, and these are awesome instruments. And to be able to take a modern capability like sampling and then mix it with analog filters is something we're really interested in, because we like to create our own tones. And so Phantom Electric Ghost has always been about trying to push the envelope and create our own tones with our Moogs and our Rolands and our Make Noise gear, our Arturia gear. We like to take anything that's out there. We're very interested in moving forward with that type of stuff. We're also looking into some Pittsburgh modular equipment. We like their new desktop synths and their new sequencer model. We're looking at that. Analog Solutions, we're looking at that. And Behringer, we're very interested in the Neutron. And it's always like Teenage Engineering and their really watershed machine, the OPX, is something that we're very interested in, to see what we could do with that on the road, in a club, combined with our Eurorack. We think that that would be a really cool system to do a performance with a lighter footprint. So we're very interested in what Teenage Engineering has to bring to the table with the OPX, and we've seen some videos of them using USB MIDI controllers with the OPX to give a wider control schema. We've also seen them use it without that type of thing, and we're really interested in what you could do with it with an iPad or a Surface or any other things that you could do, or even non-traditional input methods like the block system from Roly. So this is our forum for discussion. We're going to see if we can open it up to some guests in the future, where we can get some random musicians to pop in and see what we can do. But thank you for listening, and you'll be able to hear the full Sonic Twins song after this recording or select it on the podcast.